might have recently seen something odd popping up in your social media feed. Weird, grainy pictures that resemble something familiar, but look like odd mashups, strange combinations, some hilarious, others just kind of haunting. So what's going on here? These images were created by an AI formerly known as DALL-E Mini, now known as Crayon. More on the name change in a moment. DALL-E Mini generates pictures from any text prompt. You type it, it gets to work. Crude as some of the pictures are, DALL-E Mini Crayon is, for many of us, our first real opportunity to play around with AI that makes images and art on demand. So what is DALL-E Mini? How does it work? And will this technology change how we see AI in general? And stick around, as I'll also include tips throughout this video for how you can get better images out of this AI generator for yourself. So let's get started. What is DALL-E Mini? According to its creators, DALL-E Mini is an AI model that can draw images from any text prompt. It's known as Crayon to avoid confusion with DALL-E, a larger, more sophisticated AI text-to-image generator released in January 2021, and DALL-E 2, its even more powerful sibling, previewed in April 2022. DALL-E 2 is vastly more powerful than DALL-E Mini, and I think it's best just to separate them in your mind. DALL-E 2 isn't open for just anyone to use, it's closed beta. You have to apply to use it. The same goes for other AI text-to-image generators such as Google Brain's Imagine and Midjourney. Why, you might ask? And that's a really good question, and we'll return to that in a moment. By contrast, DALL-E Mini is openly available for you to try right now. There are other free and open AI text-to-image generators out there. DALL-E Mini just happens to be the most famous one that's open to anyone to use that's gone viral. So how does it work? Type in your text prompt and wait. Ta-da! So how does it really work? Under the bonnet is an algorithm designed to mirror how your brain's network of neurons communicate. These algorithms have been trained to produce images on demand from a text prompt. The training part is effectively to plonk the algorithm in front of a screen and show it about 30 million unfiltered pictures scraped from the internet. These could be images of anything from teapots to Turkish delight, along with any associated captions. The algorithm starts to gain a feel for which captions map to which images, and it starts to predict from a caption that is fed, say teapot, what an image of a teapot should look like. It then uses these insights to assemble images that map to entirely new, more complex captions with multiple concepts and ideas that you and I willingly provide. I promised to share with you some tips on how to get better results from using DALL-E Mini. So here's tip number 1. The creators recommend being really specific in your text prompts, and note that using words like illustration, photorealistic, high definition can produce some really interesting results. So let's take a look at DALL-E Mini in action. As we're interested in the futures that these technologies are creating, let's ask it what it sees in the future. How it sees the future of food. How it sees the future of transport. How it sees the future of communication. So is this really how AI sees the future? Well, no. DALL-E Mini's creator lists what counts as misuse, malicious use, and out-of-scope use. Most relevant to us is the model is not trained to be factual or true representations of people or events, and therefore using the model to generate such content is out of scope for the abilities of this model. So asking the model to predict the images of the future is perhaps a little bit unfair. But what I find really revealing about DALL-E Mini and AI image generators in general is the questions they prompt about their potential future use and misuse. Here's tip number 2. Text prompts that describe a style or form that you'd like an image to try and imitate can open up some interesting visual results. So you could plug in an artist's name, Paul Klee, Hopper, Van Gogh. Trailcam is fast developing into its own subgenre, steampunk, RGB, and so on. The model's creators envisage DALL-E Mini will be used to generate images based on text prompts for research and personal consumption. Intended uses include supporting creativity, creating humorous content, and providing generations for people curious about the model's behaviour. Further uses could be assisting researchers examining the limitations and biases of these types of models, development of educational or creative tools, generation of artwork, and use in design and artistic processes. Interestingly, since the model has gone viral, users have applied it in other unforeseen ways, including poetry illustration, fan art, visual pumps, fairy tale illustrations, concept mashups, and stuff. While these examples are fairly benign, it does highlight how hard it is to foresee the many ways that these models might be used, or how to protect against the ways in which they might be misused. The creators of DALL-E Mini warn of some of its biases and limitations. For example, images may reinforce or exacerbate societal biases, owing to the fact that DALL-E Mini was trained on unfiltered data from the internet. The issue of biases in AI isn't new. It has long been known that biases can creep into AI design undetected, only to later surface once the technology has been made available for wider use. Concerns over the potential for AI to fuel misinformation, deepfakes, and reaffirm societal and cultural biases are reasons why more powerful AI image generators such as Google Brain's Imagen and DALL-E 2 are just not open for us all to use yet. So when questions remain, it seems perhaps sensible to take a cautious track before unleashing these models on the general public. And remember, these technologies are just in their early infancy. DALL-E appeared in early 2021, DALL-E 2 and Imagen in 2022. There is one other nagging issue for me, but before we get to that, here's one last quick tip. Tip 3, Counterpoint. Combining incongruous ideas, plastic chair and archaeology. I suggest you check out the Twitter account Weird DALL-E for more inspiration. That one last nagging issue. As a layperson looking at this AI, I do wonder the extent to which it truly creates something new beyond just recombining images and ideas that it's already been trained on. AI's idea about an image are based on what something should look like, whereas we're capable of so much more what something could look like. Understandably, designers and artists are concerned about their future with the prospect of these powerful image generators coming online, but I for one feel that there's space for them and all creatives until AI can offer a credible response to this simple question: what else is possible? Until then, there's a creativity gap that AI can't fill for the time being. At the time of filming, DALL-E Mini was generating about 50,000 images a day, and Weird DALL-E Twitter handle has over 1 million followers. This wider exposure of new users to AI holds the potential for something more significant: to demystify AI in the eyes of a wider range of people. This is perhaps the first time that people have interacted with AI in this way or knowingly interfaced with AI at all, despite habitually clicking on AI-generated Netflix suggestions or listening to AI-generated playlists. I suspect people's feelings towards AI will inevitably shift as a result of tinkering with AI image generators such as DALL-E Mini and seeing what they produce. How precisely? We shall see, but perhaps AI will look a little less mysterious. Bringing it out from behind closed doors and placing it into our hands to play with may also soften our reservations about AI and it featuring more prominently in our lives. Or perhaps the reverse. It might heighten our awareness and wariness of just how much AI is quietly making what we thought were our decisions and taking what we thought were our jobs. It could also make us even more skeptical of the images that we see in our day-to-day social and news feeds, with unknowable knock-on effects for how we establish trust. But what do you think? Try out DALL-E Mini for yourself and let me know in the comments below how you get on. AI already shapes our choices in perhaps ways we don't appreciate. Continue on to this video to find out how it is reshaping the music we listen to and even how we feel about music. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and perhaps even consider subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you over in the next video.